Hi there. Welcome to Traveling Light by Sydney. In this week's video, it is going to be amazing. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. This is arguably one of the best videos of my entire YouTube journey. In this week's video, we talk addiction.
Persons who you would not normally be associating with, you find yourself being their friends. And they themselves will disrespect you. No matter what level of education you are, in a rum bar, you are just another bum.
We talk abuse.
And I said to him, do not hit her again. He turned and gave me one punch in my eye. And when I came back and swung that machete,
We talk recovery.
and that's how I ended up in knowing about Teen Challenge.
If you are interested in this kind of content, stick around and remember to like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Scott, welcome to my channel. It's called Traveling Light, and it has a number of meanings to me. One of them is that I do believe that God has given me a gift. I honestly believe that He gave me what I call light. And you will see several references to light in the Bible. Let your light so shine
Yes,
before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And so that's one of the
yes,
things that I aim to accomplish with my channel, to bring light to others and to let persons glorify God. And then the
right,
other thing with light is I also want to ensure that I enlighten people with information and bring awareness and education. And so in
right.
August of this year, I had the opportunity to meet one Mr. Morton Scott. Never heard that name before. Morton, where you get that lovely name from?
Well, I was told that my name came from Morton the Mortician. That was a movie, a long, long time ago movie, and the name was chosen. I googled that name way back in 1991, I think, and I could not have found a meaning for the name. I don't know if there's a meaning now. I have not tried to do so again. But when I checked on Facebook, the name Morton Scott was the only one there at that time. I'm now seeing more Morton Scott. But I know that it's the Morton is a surname. And I've heard the surname several times, but I'm seeing now it being used as a first name. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Tell me, who is Morton Scott? Tell me about the man. Who is the person?
Morton Scott is a very unique individual. And from childhood days, I was one who had a lot of compassion. I cared about everything that happened to everybody else, but I just didn't care about myself. I gave everything above myself. I think what really transpired in my life was because of that passion to be kind and caring. And my mom, who had me out of wedlock, because I came into this world truly out of sin. I was born to a unmarried woman who had a relationship with a married man. And I was classified back in the days as a bastard. So I had no relationship with my father. And to some extent, that had a very devastating effect on my life because my mother got married to a man who was very abusive. She was in a very abusive relationship before she got married. And she still chose to get married to that man who was not only abusive to her, but he was also abusive to me. One of the things that I am going to let you know that because of the, my wanting to see my mother out of this, I started to take on things in my own way from early childhood. So I started tampering with alcohol. I started smoking cigarettes. I didn't find pleasure in smoking weed or anything else, but it was the alcohol and the cigarettes that I started fooling around with as a child. One of the things is that when my mother was suffering her batterings, I was too small, too minute, too tiny to defend her. And I had, as an only child at the time, I had no way of sharing what was going on the inside. The house always had a drinks trolley inside with alcohol, alcoholic beverages, and soft drinks as well. But I found more comfort in drinking the stronger stuff. And this seemed to be heredity because on both sides of my family, my mom's side and my dad's side, there are numerous alcoholics, persons who died from alcoholism in that family setting, in those both sides of the family setting. So I acquired the taste for alcohol from a very tender age. And this is what led to my demise at a certain part of my life. So I started drinking from primary school. I drank my way through high school and through tertiary institutions. You know, I, 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 I was at a place where I only could have found comfort through this. This was the means of survival. So I had nobody to defend my mom. I had nobody to deal with the abuse that I was going through at the time. I'm telling you, there are good stepfathers out there, but I'm telling you that there are some cruel, crude, wicked stepfathers. And my stepfather was one such person. You know, one of the things today, I'm telling you, today, that this very man I'm talking about is benefiting from the wickedness that he had done to myself and my mom. My mom died, and he did not give 1 cent of her two life insurances policies, two life insurance policies that she had left to take care of her funeral, and whatever was left to be shared. And he took it all. And he's now back in her house that she worked hard to buy in Montego Bay, living the life of a king. He did not contribute 1 cent to her funeral, did not contribute a cent to her funeral, but he's still benefiting from what he did to us. Now, one of the things that I had to do, I had to leave home from a very early age because I started to become very violent. And I had to chase him with machete. I had to stone him, and all of that. So I was locked up for it on, I think it was 2 occasions. I went to live in Kingston, having left the home, and from there on, I just went back to visit. And because of that, now I did not have a very good relationship with my mom because most of the days that we could have been together, I had to be away. And because of the fact that she was a teacher and had a child out of wedlock, she had to hide me so that she could continue to work. I used to think that she didn't love me. But then when realizing that, she was trying to make something that she could take care of me, since there was no father and my stepfather was a person who had no ambition. He had absolutely no ambition. That lady worked her life out for us, including him, to survive. And I'm telling you that it was too much for me to deal with. It was too much for me to deal with. Sidoni, believe you me, I had sleepless nights. I had times when I could not even study because everything, as soon as I touched the book, everything from the past kept on coming back, kept on coming back. I remembered his own son. I'm 16 years older than my brother. And one night that man came in and she asked him where he was coming from. And that man started to give her a beating. I had my baby brother in my hand. He couldn't walk. He was about maybe 6 months old. And I had a child she had a child in her hand. And I took the child from her. And I said to him, do not hit her again. And the man with the baby in my hand, he turned and gave me one punch in my eye. I put the baby down on the sofa and went for the machete in the kitchen. And when I came back and swung that machete, had he not ducked out of it, he wouldn't have his head. And that was when my mom said, you can't stay here, you have to go. That's how I went to Kingston to live. It's heart-wrenching to tell these things, but this is the story of my life. A lot of my mom's sisters and brothers thought that I was just naturally a wicked man, I was cruel, I was this or that, because of the fact that they were not close to the situation to know what was happening. I see you are drawn to tears, my dear, but this is the reality of life, and I had to deal with this for a number of years. I struggled. I struggled. It came to the place that whilst I was at Xavymusic High School teaching, my mom met her demise. She died from a heart attack on her 61st birthday, the very day she became pensionable. And that woman had worked so hard and did not get 1 cent to spend of her pension. That tore me apart because my plan was that when my mom passed on, we would have been living together. And what I missed out in childhood, I would have been giving back to my mom in the years of her retirement. That never materialized. Can you imagine what that did to me?
I can just imagine.
Yes, I started drinking left, right, and center. And that's how I ended up in knowing about Teen Challenge. Because I found myself in trouble with the law in Montego Bay. And the judge came Beckford at the time, having gotten a probation report about me and learned about the talent of this man, she decided that she would not put me to prison, but to have me, and this was her exact word, you are going to go to Teen Challenge and you are going to help them to run that program. That was the charge that that judge gave me. But when I came to Teen Challenge, I was placed in the program as a student.
Just a second. Do you mind sharing what happened in Montego Bay? Or is it too
Yes,
personal?
there was an issue with myself and a policeman, but I should have been in prison for 3.5 years, and that didn't materialize. So, but at the time I was a full blown alcoholic. I, you know, if you look at my resume, you will see the number of schools that I taught, and most of it had to do with the fact that I was drinking heavily, and I had this nomadic spirit, this spirit of running away from problems. Because the moment there's an issue that I strongly believe I could not deal with, I run away from it. So many times I would just walk off my job and just don't show up back at school. And at that time, it was quite easy for me to walk because I was a qualified trained teacher. So I could just walk into a job. You know, I did 2 stints at a particular school because I'm not patting myself on my shoulder, but I'm a very good teacher. And my track record will show, and I'm one who is driven by success and results in particular. So, one of the things that I would say is that never say never. Never say never. Because with all that I went through, I was still able to get myself a good education. I was still able, and during the times, I was still struggling. I could remember going to a particular math exam, stone drunk. I sat in Papine at graduate lounge, and I drunk myself before the exam. And when I was 20 minutes late for the exams, and when I reached, the invigilator said to me, "Oh, you smell like you've been drinking." And I went in that exam and sat down and was one of the first persons to finish that paper. And also got one of the highest scores in the exam. It could be the highest. Don't laugh. So what I'm saying to you, that the drinking was my means of coping. It was a coping mechanism that I had developed over the years, and it was a way of escape, a way of making friends, and a way of escaping my problems. But
Let
the
me ask you a
Lord,
question. What was really the moment of clarity for you? Was it the what happened with the judge, Or did you make up your mind sometime after that, that despite what the judge has said, I am going to make a change? What was a moment of clarity that made you say, mm-mm, I can't do this no more?
That after the Teen Challenge program, that 1 year in the Teen Challenge program, I was called back to a particular high school in St. Catherine. And I went there because I was at a high school in Kingston when the incident took place. So I was called back to a school in St. Catherine. So I was back on the job the very September after completing the program. I was there assisting a little bit until I went back to school. I did the interview. Well, it wasn't even a formal interview. I just went back and filled out the 504 so I went straight back into the job. But during that time, it never take very long for me to get back into my drinking habits. But the defining moment was when God started to call me. Because I was still struggling with the fact that I lost my mom suddenly and all this wicked act of my stepfather. I was struggling with that. And it was when the Lord started to show me things, started to speak to me. That was when the moment. So at that time, when I went back to St. Catherine, I got my third child. I had my third son, and that was a situation where I went into holy grounds and destroyed a young lady who was in a church setting. She got pregnant from me. So having all of that, gone through all of that, the Lord kept calling me. He kept on giving me situations that made me realize that I need to cling to Him. But I was never holding fast or holding on to what He has in store for me. So what happened is that the Lord had to give me a big knock. I am, well, I don't want to use the word recovering, but I got 4 stroke, had to be in the university hospital, couldn't move. 4 strokes. The first one was a right subcortical stroke. So with that, the right side of the brain being affected, my left side went dead totally.
Oh,
Yes, so my left side could not move.
wow.
And this happened on 3 separate occasions. So I recovered from this, was able to walk, had slur speech, my visual was very bad. Everything I looked at was raindrops, raindrops. I look at you and it would appear as if you were standing in the rain. That was what was happening to me. And the Lord took away all of that for me. And, whilst I was home one day, having spent all my resources on trying to recover from strokes, gone bankrupt and all of that. And the Lord, I called out to God. And a voice said to me, get up and walk. And I was sent straight to Reverend Wayne Biggs at Redeemer Moravian Church. And this is where my spiritual journey actually started. It's when I realized that God had a calling upon my life. The powers of discernment that He had given to me, the things that have happened, I am able to do certain spiritual things. I'm able to see things, but I don't know how to use these gifts because I've witnessed things that was shown to me unfolded, even the death of a person. Had I known what to do, I maybe would be able to save that life, but I did not know what to do, and I'm still having struggles with that. But the Lord knows what He's doing, so I'm allowing Him to do what He wants to do with me. And today I'm back at Teen Challenge working, impacting lives.
Tell me about that. I want to know what was it like when you were there as a student and what is it like now? Tell me about the whole experience there.
All right. So no, it's much different now because back in the days, persons like myself who came through a Teen Challenge program, we came here going through a program that instilled discipline, and we actually wanted change. We wanted change, so we were much quicker to actually grasp whatever the Teen Challenge program has to or had to offer at that time. It's somewhat different now because at one stage the Teen Challenge program had men my age and much younger. So the age scale would be like a steep, you know. But what is happening is that we are having now more older men trying to get their lives together, and we are still having a mix. So it's a mix of youth, just the same, but it's not as young as those who were given the opportunity from an earlier age. One of the things I would advise anybody who is out there and actually need a change in their life is that they have to try to do it as quickly as possible because you don't want to be in a teen challenge program at the age of 70 years old, you know, because every man that enters a teen challenge men's program is one that was chosen by God, you know. They might not see that, but when they get into the program and the discipleship program starts, because Teen Challenge is not really so much about addiction, you know. It's about life transformation. And it's a Christian discipleship program. It's really a Christian discipleship program, which God and the Holy Spirit does all the transformation. You understand? So one of the things is that it's not a program where you're going to get into and you are going to be medicated or anything like that and for detox and all that. It's strictly cold turkey. And the moment you enter, it's discipleship that it's at. And for you, you are going to be discipled to be a Christian. Nobody's forcing anything on you, but you are going to be getting the word of God. And in your own time and your own decisions, you will choose whether you want to be a Christian or you want to be a part of a Teen Challenge program or not. But it's really life transformation through discipleship because it's actually making disciples to go out and disciple. So whatever you get in a Teen Challenge program, you need to take it with you and go and minister to others. You know, life, life can be wonderful, but life is what you make it. So the onus is on the individual. And when I wrote my thesis, I coined, I actually coined a definition for education, which says education is a sum total learning gathered by an individual through the experiences, the environment, and the institution. Of those four quarters, the individual is the greatest. Only you can decide how educated you want to be. Similarly, only you can decide what life is going to be. So from the get go, you might not be having the sort of life you want, but you can decide that you want that change that can make your life worthwhile. Sidoni, let me just say something to you. I have gone through hills and valleys. I have suffered a lot of humiliation because of my habit of drinking. Persons, and we don't want to put pride in it, but persons who you would not normally be associating with, you find yourself being their friends. And they themselves will disrespect you, no matter what level of education you are. In a rum bar, you are just another bum. Yes. So when you look at the things of life, and when you look at what you, the great potentials that God has granted to you, He gives you talents. Didn't even dream that one day I would preach to a sermon to a congregation. And I've done that and still am doing so. I am not formally trained as a minister, but I preach as well. And I did not know that this would ever had happened to me. But having answered the call of God, I am proud to say I am a Christian. And what God has done for me, He will do it for any soul that cries out to Him. You know, He will do it for any soul that cries out to Him. All you need to do is to follow His leading and accept Him as your personal Savior and leave the rest to Him. All you have to do is to maintain your path to salvation, because that is the most important thing in life. That aspect of salvation. And you know, persons might differ in this view, but to me, no man is righteous. But you can pursue righteousness. You can pursue righteousness, but you might not be righteous. But in the event your righteousness is going to be determined by the Father Himself. You might see a man walking and you say, oh, there goes a righteous man. But deep within, is he truly righteous? The very thought of unrighteousness might be packed up in that person. His actions might look like, but is the heart, this is what. So only God Himself can say, there goes a righteous man. Because He knows what your very thoughts are. Yes, Sidoni. Do you have anything further to ask at this time?
You have given me everything. And for the second time this week, I feel like the experience has changed me
Yeah.
more than it has changed a person sharing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's a lot to emotionally unpack. This has been a
Yes.
lot. I'm not sure if I have had experiences with persons who have been addicted to different substances, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been moved before. I'm not sure if I've ever been this moved.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire time I've been here, I just want to cry out for that little boy that is
Yes.
within you, because for some strange reason, I get it. I
Yes.
understand you wanting to defend mommy. I don't know why. For some reason, I can truly deeply empathize.
Yeah.
And I am just happy that you're at a place where I'm hoping that you have gotten some amount of healing from that.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I'm happy that you're at a place where you can use your experience to help heal others and to bring
Right.
them to Christ. And I just hope that this will truly, truly save lives. And there's
Yes.
really nothing more to ask except, how do persons get in touch with Teen Challenge if they need help? And I'm happy you say it's about Christ as well. It's not just about the addiction, but it's about Christ changing
All
their
right.
life.
Just go Google Teen Challenge Jamaica, and everything will pop up, including the numbers to call. I really don't call these numbers, so I don't remember them from the head. But you call. But I can also give you. I am the intake coordinator here, so I can give you my number 396-4752, and you call, set up an interview. We do what is known as a quick scan, and also what we do, we set up a time for you to come in for a further interview, and from there we decide whether you want. But the only thing you need to do to get into a teen challenge is to have a willingness to change. You first must admit that you have a problem to have that willingness to want to change. And that's basically it. That's basically it. Yes.
I am humbled. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining with me today. I couldn't repay you. This is a blessing. I'm not even sure if you yourself have any idea. But one thing I know for sure is that something you said to me earlier, that this really isn't of us. We're not the ones
Yes.
directing this. We're not the ones driving this. Both you and
Right.
I are being propelled by God to do this.
Right.
And
Right. Exactly so.
so
Exactly
we just want to
so.
give Him all the glory for
Yes.
allowing both of us
Yes.
to come together to find each
Right.
other so that we could carry
Yes.
out this ministry.
Yes. But the thing about it, the most wonderful thing about it, the Lord knew that this would have happened even before we knew each other. So the ground for preparation. I've been prepared for this, and you were being prepared for this. And he knew the exact time that this would have happened. So glory be to God. Glory be to God. So yes,
Thank you.
yes. You're
Have a
most welcome.
wonderful rest of the day. I am so excited. Thank you very much. Blessings and peace be unto you and grace. Bye
Great.
bye.
We'll be in touch. Great.
Will do. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, Essence, who is that? Say hello, Miss.
Hi, we're from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, and we're in Montego Bay today promoting the new child abuse reporting hotline. The number is 211. It is free from any network, any landline, any cell phone, and we operate 24/7. All calls are confidential, and you don't have to give your name. Report child abuse, call 211. This is Mr. Protector.
Hi,
He's
Mr.
our
Protector.
mascot, or friendly child protection mascot.
Oh, say hello. All right. High five, Essence.